Well, the conference was, I think, timely. It came at the right moment. And I like the fact that there was a very diverse group of experts and academics who attended the conference. And I think overall the debate was, very, very, good. And we saw a lot of contributions by, the diplomats and the experts who are in the room. And I think there is definitely a consensus on what is needed for Kenya, but also for the regional states to do in order to mitigate the crisis in Sudan. I think the crisis in Sudan and the conflict we have seen in the last 6 months is definitely heart-rending. Close to 4 million people have been displaced. The conflict is destabilizing regional states, but it is also having a wider international repercussions. So unless all the regions and all the international players come together to resolve this conflict, there is actually a risk that it will escalate and all these regional countries will be drawn into the conflict. We already see a lot of international actors and players involved in this conflict. So the longer it continues, the more it sucks in these regional players. So I think the time is now for all states, Kenya in particular, which has a regional role, but has been involved in the Sudan and peace mediation for a long time. So these are states which can do something about the crisis in Sudan. I think the time is now. Unless we resolve this crisis, this crisis will definitely escalate and basically become unresolvable. Conflicts inevitably lead to human suffering. They inevitably lead to dislocation and mass exodus. And we have seen in Sudan, just in 6 months, close to 4 million people have been displaced, 2 million probably abroad. Countries have been generous. They have opened their borders. They have allowed in refugees. Countries have also taken students from Sudan and hosted them in their universities. So overall, I think African empathy is real. So, there is solidarity with the Sudanese people. At the same time, I think, we are a long way away from being genuinely hospitable to refugees. We have seen countries sometimes, impose bureaucratic restrictions, make it harder for refugees to cross borders. Conflicts will be with us, but we need to, I think, improve the way in which states respond to conflict, first by peacemaking and conflict resolution, but also by making it easier for civilians to actually seek help and seek refuge in safer places. Sudan is a country with a lot of strong civil society. We have seen throughout the years, throughout the history of Sudan, we have seen a remarkable civic spirit. The revolution 5 years ago was actually, instrumental in removing the Bashir dictatorship, was largely the work of young people, young men and women from all over Sudan who came together and rallied and mobilized and removed the dictatorship. So we should not, I think, downplay the fact that there is a very strong social movement in Sudan which wants change. And despite the fact that the army has betrayed the people so many times, in the longer term, I have hope that the people of Sudan will prevail and their will prevail.